Hello everyone, and welcome back for another RGB RPG's DM prep guide. Today we are looking at session 22 of our Candlekeep Mysteries game, and as always, there's going to be a lot of spoilers ahead. So if you are a player or plan on being a player in Candlekeep Mysteries, go ahead and click away from this one. But if you're a DM who wants to see how another DM might prep for these games, go ahead and stick around and check out this series. Specific spoilers for Sarah of Yellowcrest Manor today. So, over the course of the past few sessions, the players have spent a little bit of downtime at Candlekeep, going about some activities of their own there, while learning a little bit more about the residents. And they also got a chance to meet a few of their potential rivals, the Fastidious Five, a adventuring group that they've been hearing about, and now get a chance to I've gotten a chance to meet for the first time at least 3 of the 5 members they got a chance to meet over the course of the last couple sessions. So now they have discovered Sarah's journal, Sarah of Yellowcrest Manor. This adventure draws the players to Waterdeep and gets them involved in the evil doings of a cult leader and his followers. It's a pretty straightforward adventure. Lots of travel could be done in this, so this is one of those adventures. This is one of those Candlekeep adventures that could be much longer if you'd like it to be. But all in all, if you were to run it from the book, it probably would be about 5 to 6 hours of gameplay. But we're going to be tackling the first section of that today. They've already made their way to Waterdeep and have gotten a chance to talk to the caretaker of the manor. A little bit of backstory on Sarah of Yellowcrest Manor. Essentially what has happened is the manor's servants as well as the lord's wife and children were murdered at the manor some time ago. Those players that were familiar with Waterdeep may have heard of this, and through a book that they discovered at Candlekeep, the ghost of one of the murdered servants is pleading for the party to help her and essentially right the wrong that was her death, put her spirit to rest by bringing justice to the cult leader who killed her. So this investigation has led the party to Waterdeep, where they went to this manor and were questioning the caretaker. They learned that the lord of the manor has moved to a nearby town called Greenest, and he's apparently very broken up about the entire thing. He claims to have not been home when the murders were taking place, although a lot of the different evidence is pointing towards him being responsible. We also get a bit of a dive into one of our characters' backstories. Uskar is beginning to recognize symbols that his brother, who has fallen to darkness, he's starting to see symbols that he also saw on some of his brother's notes and journals, tying his brother to this cult. So party gets to Waterdeep, they investigate the manor, and then they've learned that while Lord Vialis does not come into town anymore, he stays over in Greenest, his business associate does enter town once every few days to collect money from the various businesses that Lord Vialis still owns in Waterdeep. So that is where we're at right now. The players are in Waterdeep deciding what exactly they want to do. Lord Vialis is not due to arrive back in town for 2 more days, and they've learned a little bit more about what may have happened. They got a chance to explore the manor, see some evidence, especially some pretty gruesome cultist activity that was happening in the manor while Lord Vialis was there. So now they get to decide if they want to wait in the town or if they want to go straight to Greenest. They also know of Sarah of Yellowcrest Manor's love interest, a man by the name of Veckin, is also likely in town. So that is also another possibility. They could go to visit Veckin and question him about what happened. But yeah, that's where we're at right now with this session, where we're going to start today. They're in Waterdeep and trying to decide what exactly they want to do with their next moves. So, they could go talk to Veckin, they could go and question Lord Vialis' business associates, they could wait for Farrell, or they could just head straight for Greenest and bypass all of that. Depending on what they do with this, obviously has a lot to do with how far we get into the story in this session. But yeah, so we'll go ahead and start with our keys here. We already know that the Players learn that Lord Vialis has moved to the countryside and that Fair will arrive in a couple of days. Vecin is at a nearby inn, the Troll Skull Inn and Tavern. A little bit of a pull from Dragon Heist there. But they're at the Troll Skull. He's at the Troll Skull. And if they go and question him, Vecin will be grateful that the party is looking into it, but he will feign no interest in traveling with them. He is honor bound, and he has been searching tirelessly for evidence of what happened to his partner, Sarah. So he will not want to accompany the party. He will, however, try to seek vengeance for himself. He's a bit headstrong and believes that this is his duty and his mission to do, so he will go and try to take care of this himself if the party does approach him and tell him what they've learned. The other business associates in town do not know anything about what Lord Vialis is up to. They're not in on it. They're just ordinary people going about their business. Most information they can give the party is information on Farrell. His entourage, how many people he usually travels with, his temperaments, things like that are the kind of information they can get from the shopkeepers that are under the employ of Lord Vialis. Now, if they wait for Farrell and they confront him, he will play the gracious servant of his master and tell them all how broken up his lord is over all of this, and that he really doesn't wish to be disturbed, all of these things. If the party indicates that they do intend to go to Greenest and question Lord Vialis, Farrell will flee, instructing his many guards to attack. This is an interesting fight. All of these men are on horseback when the party approaches them, and so there's a lot of potential movement that can happen in this. A larger map is definitely recommended for this. The map that I have is small. I'll probably end up beefing that one up in size considerably, because it's half a dozen people on horseback can cover a lot of distance. So yeah, the guards are just hired hands. You know, they're not going to fight to the death unless they have to. Once Farrell has escaped, they will throw their hands up and be like, hey, we don't want any more of this. We just work here, you know. Please don't kill us. We just work here. So yeah, at that point, the party can go and follow Farrell back to Greenest. If they do manage to apprehend or kill Farrell, then he is fanatically devoted to his master. He will not tell them anything unless he is put under magical strain of some kind. Otherwise, he will not say anything that could potentially harm his master. So yeah, then the party heads out of Waterdeep and heads towards the city of Greenest. It's a travel southeast of the city, and about a day and a half's travel southeast of the city. This would be an opportunity to throw in a combat encounter. Always like to see if it feels like the party wants a combat encounter here. There's a couple different instances that you can throw in encounters in this adventure. One of them is on the way to Greenest. Cultists like to ambush people on the road as they pass near Greenest and drag them back to their temple for human sacrifices. These cultists have no way of knowing that the party is thoroughly capable of absolutely kicking their asses, so they will likely attack, and in the hopes of taking the party prisoner and taking them back to Greenest. It's not an encounter that should prove to be difficult for the party, but just a resource spend for them. And then we get to the city of Greenest, which is under the influence of Lord Vialis somewhat. They know that there is a man who is gathering a following to himself. They don't know that he is up to evil things. All they know is that they're losing some of their young people to this cult, to this charismatic man from Waterdeep. Some people are going willingly. Some are curious and then end up being kidnapped once they figure out what's going on there. There are several townspeople that are worried about what's happening, and there are others that don't seem to care. It's a very fluid situation going on there. Yeah, he's gathering a following in Greenest. Most of the villagers see him as simply as an eccentric lord that's trying to gather a following to himself. But there are some that are worried, namely the barkeeper. The barkeep, we'll go over him more when we get down to the NPC section, but the barkeep is definitely concerned, and the mayor is more annoyed by what's going on here. Um, Again, we'll go over more of her involvement in this when we get down to the NPCs. But yeah, the people at the village don't really know yet that Lord Vialis is doing some evil shit down there. So all they know is that he's renovating a old dig site, an archaeological site. Lord Vialis is actually building a temple to his dark god beneath that temple, beneath that archaeological site. But the townsfolk just assume that he's excavating some artifacts there. So they'll be able to tell the party that Lord Vialis is spending most of his time over in that excavation site. He has a house in town. The villagers can point them towards that house. That house is being thoroughly watched. This is another opportunity for a combat encounter. If you feel like a combat encounter would help get things going, or your party might enjoy a combat encounter, this is another opportunity to do that. If they break into Lord Vialis' house or into Farrell's house, there are people watching both houses, and they will confront and attack the party if they do this. So yeah. Eventually, the party does make their way over to the temple and then makes their way in. I don't expect us to get that far today, but if they do, the temple is pretty straightforward. Lots of cultists. There's some grells and other creatures of the far realms in there. It is essentially a great old one that has the devotion of Vialis. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. Even if they do manage to get to the temple, the likelihood of them getting through it all the way is slim to none for today. So there are some hints to Uskar's story in that temple. But for now, let's go ahead and go over the characters. So we have Farrell, fanatically devoted to his master. He will not betray him unless forced to do so through magical means. See his personality traits and all that kind of stuff there. This is all detailed thoroughly in Candlekeep Mystery, so we won't go too deep into this. These are kind of just reminders for myself. The important things are in Greenest. The mayor knows that her daughter has gone to Vialis' dig site. The mayor is more annoyed by Vialis' influence over the town. She's not exactly concerned yet. She thinks her daughter has gone there and is now just a fanatical devotee of Vialis. Doesn't know that her daughter has in fact been taken prisoner. After going there, seeing what was going on, and not liking it very much, she decided to try and leave. Vialis did not like that, and has her being held prisoner at the temple now. Old Fargo, the barkeep, is more aware of what's happening. He instinctively knows that Lord Vialis is up to no good, and however, his son has gone and willingly joined into Vialis' cult. Old Fargo doesn't know that. He wants to believe that his son is being held prisoner. That is not the case. The party may end up having to fight and kill Old Fargo's son, but when they do see him down there, they may see the family resemblance and be like, oh, maybe we should just take this kid prisoner and get him back to his dad. But yeah, so we have Waterdeep and Greenest both thoroughly outlined in the book, so not a whole lot of information in our prep notes here. Full descriptions and box text given for Greenest, and Waterdeep is well known enough that don't need that there. We don't have a whole lot of stats going on. Lots of veterans, cultists, and cult fanatics is what the party is set to fight this time. If they make it into the temple, they get some more varied opponents, such as the Grells and a Grick, creatures of the far realms, but don't plan to get there, so they're not on the list here just yet. Items and rewards. Farrell has some cash on him from from collecting from the businesses in Waterdeep. He also has a potion of superior healing on him. The party does attack and kill him or take him prisoner, whatever they may do to get his loot. Decent amount of gold, about 100 gold, 400 silver from the businesses, as well as a potion of superior healing and whatever jewelry and finery he may have on him. So yeah, we do get to dive into Uskar's backstory at the end of this adventure, but yeah, that's all we've got for today, everybody. We plan to do some investigating in Waterdeep, eventually make our way to Greenest. A couple combat encounters could happen between Greenest or in Greenest, and especially in Waterdeep, and get to Greenest, ask around, and make our way over to that temple. So yeah, everybody, thanks for watching. Remember that these do show up on my Patreon a full month before they get to YouTube, so if you are following along with us and want to check those out, the link will be below. Thank you very much for watching, everybody, and we will see you all next time.